Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty radical take on altruism. Seriously, it's a philosophy that might just change the way you think about helping others, and how to do it without completely burning yourself out in the process.
All right, so here's the plan. We're going to start with a problem that I think a lot of us know all too well. Then, we'll bust a major myth about what it means to help, and after that, we'll get into a really powerful new approach that, honestly, could change everything.
So let's kick things off with a question that our source material raises, and it's one that might feel very, very familiar. You know how it is. We all start out with the best of intentions, don't we? We genuinely want to make a difference, to be there for someone we care about. But so often, the very act of trying to give, well, it just leads to this profound sense of exhaustion.
And this is exactly the kind of downward spiral our source material talks about. You start out wanting to do good, but pretty soon your relationships feel all twisted up, your advice gets seen as you just meddling, and you're just left feeling completely and utterly drained. Does any of that sound familiar?
So, where did we go wrong? Well, according to this philosophy, the whole problem comes down to a massive misunderstanding of what altruism is actually supposed to be in this day and age.
Okay, just take a look at this contrast here. The source argues that the things we usually think of as helping, giving money, doing favors, even being self-sacrificing, they aren't just old-fashioned. They're actually the very source of the burnout. Yeah, the speaker in our source material is incredibly blunt about this. These traditional ways of giving are totally reframed. They're not seen as helpful, but as completely counterproductive, even called a foolish act that misses the whole point of real altruism.
And here's the core insight. The world has changed. We've moved from an age of material scarcity to an age that is just overflowing with information and knowledge. So it only makes sense that our ways of helping have to get an upgrade too. A loaf of bread and a piece of life-changing advice just aren't the same thing.
Okay, so if giving stuff is the old way, what's the new way? Well, the answer, according to our source, is actually both incredibly simple and totally revolutionary.
This right here is the radical shift. The single most powerful, most effective thing you can do to help someone is to first listen. And I don't just mean wait for your turn to talk. I mean truly, deeply listen to the person sitting right in front of you. Now, this isn't just about being quiet. It's a specific technique. You listen for, say, 10 parts to help the other person totally empty their mind. Psychologically, this does something really profound. It makes them feel heard, understood, and that creates a space of trust. And it's only then, after that space is opened, that you offer your 3 parts of advice. Because now your words can actually be heard and absorbed.
This chart really shows it all. In a truly helpful conversation, more than 3/4 of your energy should be dedicated to just listening, not talking. It's a huge shift in perspective. But why is that? Why is this very specific exchange of listening and then speaking so much more valuable than, say, a physical gift you can hold in your hand?
Well, the source basically elevates conversation to the highest possible form of giving. The idea is that the right words, delivered at just the right time, have a value that goes way beyond anything in the material world.
So why are words so darn powerful? Well, because in our information age, they are the right tool for the job. A material gift, that's just temporary relief. But the right words, they can offer lasting empowerment, helping people get the clarity they need to solve their own problems.
Now, let's see how this whole idea gets even bigger. The source actually gives us a 2-level framework, which separates 2 different kinds of positive impact we can have. So the first concept is itaheng. You can think of this as that immediate, one-on-one help, the kind you give the person right in front of you through that deep listening we talked about. The second one is ikanggangwik, and that's about the bigger picture, contributing to the good of all humanity. So you see, itaheng is that fundamental act of personal transformation, happening one conversation at a time. But ikanggangwik, that's the ultimate expression of that wisdom. It's about creating something that lasts, like a great work of art or a profound teaching that can guide society for generations to come.
And here's the real kicker. These 2 levels are totally connected. You can't just jump to creating a legacy without first mastering that art of personal connection. That daily practice of listening and speaking with real intention, that's what builds the wisdom you need to make a much, much bigger impact.
So ultimately, this whole framework is asking us to completely rethink what it means to help. It suggests that maybe the most profound generosity doesn't come from an open wallet, but from an open ear,
one that's truly ready to hear what another person actually needs.